And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 98 of Rope Boxing, where the 2 days bring you their previews and predictions for the boxing weekend coming the boxing weekend coming ahead. You know what I mean, guys. As you can see, visual listeners, I've got a microphone in front of me and I've got headphones in now, little sporty ones I've dug out my drawer. If you was listening to yesterday's episode, Wednesdays, I tried working the microphone. I couldn't work it. I was too stupid to realise that I do need headphones. Now I've got them on. You can hear me. I can hear Dave, careful what I say, and he can hear me. So it's all working. Usual T's and C's. I'm getting tongue-tied using the fucking mic and the earphones, man. What's going on? Usual T's and C's, guys. Like, share, and subscribe via YouTube. If you're watching here on YouTube via your phone, whether you're at home, in the office, or the gym, look what Dave's doing. Like, share, subscribe. There's normally that little bell. Give that a little tap. And if you're an audio listener, do exactly the same on your audio feeds. Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all those types of platforms. And if you're listening to us via Apple, please give us a 5-star review, as nothing else will do. I know I always say that, but it does make a great addition. It does help us when people are looking for boxing content, and Robodope with the 5 stars will pop up on Apple. So thank you, please. Now I'm not tongue-tied. Now I'm getting used to the mic already. I'm getting used to the headphones. I haven't spoken to you for 24 hours, Dave. Any news in the world of Mr. Holland in the last 24 hours?
No. No dramas this week, mate. Like I say, I'll probably be back on form next week. Yeah, nothing has happened to me that that I can mention on there. A lot of stuff usually does. And I bring it on here, a day in the life of me. But no, nothing this week, mate. Not a lot, mate. Not a lot.
It's all been happening in the boxing world, isn't it? Which we'll jump into, especially the last hour or so from what we've been reading on Twitter and whatnot. I bought a packet of peanuts today, literally going off topic. Anybody that likes pepperami, or for anybody that doesn't live outside, anybody that lives outside the UK, like a sausage or a salami stick that's peppery and spicy. And they do all sorts of things now, pepperami based, crisps. They probably do yogurts or something daft like that. They'll come out with all some mad things, cheese. Anyway, I bought the peanut version today and I put it on our WhatsApp group. It was the red one, which is the spicy one. So in the UK, we've got the green one, which is original. We've got the red one, which is hot, and then we get the black one you don't see very often, which is the extra spicy. And I like my food spicy when it comes to things like that. So I bought them, and I was very disappointed, Dave. Very, very disappointed because it weren't spicy at all. So I paid £1.65 for a big packet of peanuts that were mild. Just a little moan and groan there, which obviously I'm going to lead into now, which we haven't done for a long time. It is a non-question of the week, and we do peanuts. So when we're eating peanuts, ladies and gentlemen, do you like your peanuts salty? Do you like them dry roasted? Or do you like them hot with a bit of flavour? First question, that can go out to you, Dave, before I put it on the Twitter page. Yeah, a bit disappointed with peanuts today, mate. Thought of having a bit of a snack with a couple of beers, doing a bit of cooking as I normally do. Yeah, they were pony, mate. Have you ever had them?
I've not had the pepperami ones. I do use pepperami for fishing. I use it as bait. Again, I don't catch fuck all, so it doesn't work. But I have tried pepperami for it. But funny enough, like, we haven't spoken about this, and it is a boring fucking question, I have to admit. But someone did offer me peanuts today, and I did have some, and they were salted, and they were fucking Moorish. But and it's the first time I've had peanuts in a long time, so it's a funny thing to mention today because I've not had peanuts for fucking months, and someone just opened a little packet and just handed me and I poured them into my hand. So I had some today. They're not my favourite ones though. I do like a dry roasted. In the pub,
you're a dry roasted guy,
yeah. It's in the pub. It's standard. You know what I mean? You're a little bit peckish. Go and get a pint and a packet of dry roasted. Nobbley's nuts is usually the ones that.
Nobbley's nuts. What happened to KP? What happened to KP and Big D?
The KP on the little cardboard little thing that they used to pull them off of. You know what I mean? Them and the bacon fries or the scampi fries. Remember them?
The cheesy moments. Don't forget the cheesy moments.
Yeah. All them on like a little cardboard sort of backing.
Yeah.
But no, to answer your question, mate, dry roasted for me all day long.
Yeah. Don't forget the pork scratchings, mate.
Yeah, pork scratchings. Yeah.
Are you a pork scratchings fan or pork cracking?
Really, no, I just worry my teeth are going to break when I start eating stuff like that.
Mr. Porky, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mr. Porky.
Yeah. But you shouldn't eat nuts that were on the bar. Remember the old test they done on them, full of piss on them and all that. Because old
that's right.
Sit up at the bar, don't wash their fucking hands when they have a
And,
fucking
yeah, and young cunts. Don't forget the young ones.
yeah. Oh man,
And the women. And the women.
Yeah, yeah. But I tell you what, that must have, the sales in nuts must have dropped the minute they done that survey, because nuts, it was always a little bowl on the bar. The minute they put a fucking swab on the fucker and realised all the bacteria, nuts just literally just dropped in sales.
Do you saying that now? I'm having second thoughts about going to parties and christenings and weddings when there's buffet food there.
Oh,
same thing.
It's like. I mean, I can't believe we're talking about this, man. We're going to put a glass eye to sleep.
Boxing podcast.
We're going to put a glass eye to sleep here. But
yeah,
you know, if you worried about everything that you ate and how they cook it and that, you'd never eat, mate. You'd be anorexic, because the things that go on behind kitchens and stuff like that, mate. You know, it's best not knowing. So eat your pissy nuts, mate, and live your life.
Yeah, and let's move on. I didn't ask you yesterday, mate. All the fights that we reviewed from the weekend. What was your performance of the week? We didn't go through our performance of the week. There was a lot to choose on, wasn't
there? For me, it's got to be Pitbull Cruz. That was a brilliant fight. I like that. Do you know what? I thought of something earlier on that we didn't touch on in the Morrell fight, Benavidez fight, with the knockdown. I don't think we really spoke about the knockdown.
No.
I just wanted to touch on that before we moved on, because, like I say, it looked like a legit knockdown at the time, I have to admit. And obviously we don't have VAR in boxing, but when they slowed it down, he tripped over his trailing leg and he hit him on the top of the shoulder. Now, it was a punch thrown, but in real time, it looked like a legit knockdown to me. But, you know, we don't, you know, in boxing, you don't have VAR. So it's only when you watched it back in slow-mo that you realise that there wasn't a punch landed to the head. And he tripped over. I just wanted to mention that because I thought about it today. And it wasn't.
You are right, yeah. I think yesterday when we spoke about it, I think I did mention about we'll come onto it later, but you're right, we didn't actually get onto it. When I watched it originally, I couldn't at first, before obviously watching the replay, I couldn't see the shot that Morrell landed to knock him over. But as you just said, you're not there in the ring, so you kind of expect the referee to get it right. It was a knockdown, but you're right. When you watch it back, he does kind of trip. For what the angle I saw it, mate, I thought David Morrell's kind of threw the right hand, but his forearm went onto sort of Benavidez's forearm. It's more like a kind of a push that leaded onto his the top of his shoulder. You know, it was kind of a weird shot that you probably couldn't do again if you tried. So either way, it was scored a knockdown. It shouldn't have been. It could have had a major effect in the fight because there was a 10-8 round there. So we've been asked a question about VAR in the past, and it's been spoken about on boxing socials and things like that. I'm not a fan of it, but when it comes to things like that, maybe it could be a thing going forward, you know. But yeah, we didn't mention it, but I'm glad you touched on that because it wasn't a legit knockdown. So yeah, you're right. So you've gone for Pitbull Cruz.
What were you thinking?
Yeah, I'd probably go the same, but I may edge to Stephen Fulton.
Oh yeah, do you know what? That's a good shout. It definitely won't be Junaid Boston, but
no. Fawaz has got a shout. He's got a good shout, good claim, because we poo-pooed him, kind of poo-pooed Fulton for reasons that we give.
Fulton's a massive shout. Fulton is a massive shout. Like, but fair enough. You know, I can't argue with that. That's a good.
And then Adam Nazim. What about Adam Nazim?
Yeah. It's a tough one this week.
Yeah,
tough one. It was a huge stand-up one. It's more. I thought a Pitbull Cruz because of the actual spectacle, the actual fight that it was.
Yep, he's in the conversation
for me. Yeah.
I'm going to edge just for Fulton over Azim because the WBC belt, for what it's worth, is more recognisable than the IBO. But yeah, they're all worthy of performance of the week.
A little bit.
just. So normal sections today, guys. We're going to do David McDonald and his dongs, jumping into the prediction league and our previews going into this weekend's action. So David McDonald and your dongs, take it over, son.
So it's David McDonald and the dongs. I'm going to go dark here. but from next week, I may not. I may be coming on slightly different. I'm going to try something. So it could be the last time I go dark. Now, this could be a good thing for people, or probably not, because I'll probably look better in the dark. But anyway, we off we pop. Right. There's a few bits today. So I'm going to, here's the start. So this goes back for nearly enough 10 days. So it might be old news to some people. But anyway, here we go. George Kambosos Jr. will face Duard Jordan on March 22nd in Sydney, Australia. Did I say that wrong?
No, you didn't say it wrong. No, you didn't.
In a 10-round super lightweight fight, headlining the Zone show, and will be Kambosos' first fight in his hometown in 8 years.
Yeah. The reason why I'm laughing, guys, is because me and Dave mentioned this last week or the week before that he was going to be on the main event in a show in Australia. And I said that the Sky Nicholson fight was more appealing to George Kambosos versus TBA. And obviously, Terra Moana Jr. is on there. We just look out for his first round knockover. And you just give me an opponent there that's going to be a guy that we both said will be don't really care. It's not a worthy opponent. It's just a fight. He's just signed his deal with Matchroom to have a few fights in Australia. Mate, I briefly looked into this guy when it was announced. Didn't he lose to Anthony Crolla about 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah.
And he's been fighting bums and he's been fighting all over the world. No, I can't. Not for me.
No,
I won't be tuning in anyway. It's going to be about lunchtime, isn't it? So when I get on my pit, I'm bound to be working. I'll turn it on to see if I can catch the Sky Nicholson fight because she's in a competitive fight for a change. But yeah, does it do anything for you, mate? It doesn't do anything for me.
No. It's just
how old is he, by the way? Isn't that guy like pushing? He's gone over 40, and he was pushing 41, 42.
He's got to be. He's got to. If he's fought Crolla, Crolla's been retired for fucking God knows how long.
There you go.
So
I'm sure it's Crolla. I'm sure it's Crolla.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't get me hard. Put it that way, mate.
No. It's just I'm just running through the news today, so it come up. This is a decent bit though. The WBO have now officially stated that Teofimo Lopez must defend his WBO super lightweight world title against the winner of Jack Catchall versus Arnold Barboza on the 15th of February within 180 days. So I think we've mentioned this before. Yeah. Or it was mentioned on the socials last week. 180 days. Fucking hell.
Do you want to start or shall I?
Your rants on this would be fantastic. So you work away.
I'm getting bored and sick and tired of the Jack Catchall story. Not Jack Catchall. It's not his fault. He's got a management team. He's got a promotional team to go and do the work for him. He gets in the ring and does what he's got to do. He's a world-class fighter. I love everything about what he does in the ring. He ain't getting mate. I've been times I said it. You've said it as well. He's not getting a world title fight. He's fighting Barboza Jr. I think is it next week or the week after in another eliminator. Don't get me wrong. We'll do a preview on it. I'm going to say now I'm going to go for Jack Catchall for the win. He'll beat Barboza, but he won't get a title shot because Teofimo Lopez has got 180 days to make his mind up. So he's got another guy who's with Matchroom in Richardson Hitchens, who is the belt holder in the same division for a different sanctioning body. Now, what they do is they'll get together. They're both from Brooklyn. They're both from New York. They're both Americans in America. Best of Brooklyn. There's a narrative there already. Champion versus champion. Who's the best in the division? Jack Catchall doesn't fit into that. He doesn't fit into that. So where does he go? Yeah. He's going to have another eliminator. And that's what we said last week, mate. Dalton Smith, on the trajectory he's on, will end up getting a world title fight before Jack Catchall. And you said it. If that was Jack Catchall and that does happen, I'd be going on Sam Jones's door. I'd be going on Eddie Hearn's door and be banging and kicking and screaming, asking what the fuck is going on.
Yeah. On Jack Catchall, did you see his promo for this fight?
Yeah, it's good. It was good.
So taking the piss out of how boring he is.
Yeah. The thing is, he is boring. He's good in the ring. Don't get me wrong. He's probably not exciting in the ring. He goes and does a job, but outside the ring, he's a hard sell. Josh Taylor, let's be honest. Let's be totally honest. I'm a Jack Catchall fan. I'm always banging the drum that he should be getting world title fights. I've got receipts on this podcast for it. Even though it sounds like I'm moaning about him, I'm kind of moaning about his promotion and his manager to an extent. But outside of the ring, he ain't a great sell. It took Josh Taylor really to aggravate him to get something out of him. So it's a good promo. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of work gone into it. It is funny. It's entertaining. But sorry, he is kind of boring, Dave, for me.
He is. Like I say, he is a hard sell. He is. And, and Eddie Hearn, even the salesman he's struggling with him. I don't care what he says. And you know what? That might come out once he's retired and that to say, listen, if they ever mentioned what went on with Jack Catchall, if there was, a story behind it, I think he will come out and say, he won't say it all the time he's working with him. No. But I think after the dust is settled and everything's done and dusted, I think he might come out and actually say, listen, that one was like fucking flogging a dead horse.
Yeah. Going back to the original piece of news though, Dave, if Teo does fight Richardson Hitchens, you said in the past, Teo needs an opponent in front of him to get up for.
He does.
Who wins? It's a good fight.
Teofimo Lopez for me, I against opponents where he's got jeopardy, I would always back him as to be the favourite. I mean, because he's got the skills and he has performed in fights, in fights like that against good, credible opponents, like good, world-class opponents. So for me, there's no reason to doubt that he wouldn't. And it'd be very hard to go against him when he's in against the name. It really is.
I think they're praying that Teofimo jumps up and vacates the belt, so Jack Catterall becomes elevated to email champion. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm reading between the lines, where Eddie's saying that he might jump up to the division above. So who knows? But if he doesn't, as I just said there, mate, and I've yet to be proved wrong, and I want to be proved wrong, I don't think Jack Catterall gets a sniff, irrelevant if he beats Barboza or not.
Nah. Yeah, it's the Jack Catterall mysteries. It's what we'll come back, because it's always the way. So Hami Mungai will now be training with Canelo Alvarez's coach Eddie Reynoso moving forward. Reynoso has confirmed, yes, we're now working, and I've been working with him for a week, which would be 2 weeks now. Listen, we obviously know the defeat that he had. Does it warrant a new trainer, a change of trainer based on that? Well, all he did was he switched off. He's trying to play with his food, and he got caught. It happens, but it wasn't a defeat where you have to start looking for a new trainer. It wasn't like a Robert McCracken, Anthony Joshua sort of situation where he felt like they got tactics wrong and they want to try and do something else in the rematch, all that sort of stuff. It wasn't that type of fight. He got complacent and he got iced. So listen, people can change trainers. That's up to them. But I don't think it was warranted based on that defeat. Thoughts? No.
He was with one of my, if not my most favourite fighter of all time, Eric Morales. So Morales is an attacking fighter. He's a front-footed fighter. He's a Mexican warrior. All I can think of he's gone to there with Eddie Reynoso, is to improve on the defence.
Yeah.
Apart from that, mate, I'm just as clueless as you. I'm in your camp. Does it warrant him changing his camp completely? I don't know if it'd be his camp though. Maybe it should just be Reynoso for Morales, etc. I don't know, but yeah, if it's more, it might be more than that. There might be more behind the scenes. It might just look like sort of it's fallen at the wrong time or the right time, going on the Siraj fight. But yeah, I don't know if it works for him. Well, fair fucks, But it was only his second defeat, wasn't it? Obviously, the first defeat was against Canelo. It's against Canelo, so you'll give him that one. And as you just said there, he got complacent and caught. It happens to a lot of fighters. He's not the first. He won't be the last. But yeah, we'll see what happens now with Eddie Reynoso, because in the past he's had Andy Ruiz Jr., he's had Ryan Garcia, and reports coming out the camps, whether you believe them or not, is that Eddie Reynoso is all about Canelo. He kind of neglects the other fighters, looking after the cash cow, his best mate, etc. So will it happen to Munguia? Will he go there, have a couple of fights, and then think, well, he's not really looking after me as well as Eric Morales was, or my previous team? I don't know. But if it works, then I'm all for it. But if it doesn't, then you'll be looking for somebody else, won't you? Yeah,
exactly that, mate. Yeah, we'll watch that space. Announced, this is good. I like this. Michaela Meyer will defend her WBO welterweight world title in a rematch with Sandy Ryan on March 29th in Las Vegas. Brian Norman Jr. will defend his WBO title against Derek Chisoras.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we spoke about this before, didn't we? It's obviously been announced now. We call it Paintgate. Yeah. Well, it's been dubbed as Paintgate. Have you actually seen the poster?
No. I saw an interview with him yesterday.
Yeah. It was on Ariel Helwani's show, isn't it? When they were basically saying they don't like each other. The poster's interesting because they've got both of the girls on there, and it's been kind of masked in red paint.
Oh, okay.
So Top Rank have done a bit of a cheeky one there, but good fight the first time round, mate. And I expect it to be a good fight the second time. We kind of joked last time what colour paint will be involved this time, and you said it right. It should be fucking securityed up to the max, which is over in the States this time round, mate.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, like I say, it's a good narrative for the rematch, so I'm looking forward to that one, mate. Really looking forward to that. You just spoke about this. It was Teofimo Lopez. Rich's decision is now close to being finalised. They're exploring dates in May and June. So, like you said there, Jack Catterall, he's on the back burner. God knows where he's going to go if that gets made. You know where he's going to go, don't you? Another eliminator. Yeah. And I'm being serious. Exactly. I'm not joking. I'm being serious. He'll end up in another eliminator. Yeah. For another sanctioning body. Yeah. It's madness, mate. It's madness. But he just don't do enough for me. Anaya Nue, as his plan for 25 is now out. June, Alan Picasso in Las Vegas. A September homecoming in Japan. And in December, Riyadh season debut in Saudi Arabia. Them opponents not announced yet, but David Picasso, he's been branded around for a long time. and he looks like he's next.
Yeah, well, he's going over to the States. We said it'd be Picasso, didn't we? We said that's exactly who it's going to be. He's going over to the States to shut Bob up. Bob's been on about having over in Vegas for God knows how long. He'll go over there. He'll knock Picasso out. Picasso shouldn't be anywhere near him. I don't care what record he's got. Sam Goodman, if he's fit, would be the one in Japan. Homecoming, that's a bit crazy. He'd only be he's only in America for one fight, and then obviously Saudi Arabia. That'll be the interesting one, won't it? Because obviously Saudi Arabia in December. It's mid Riyadh season. It'll be who Turkey wants. Turkey wants the Bam fight. He wants the Nick Ball fight. We want the Nakatani fight, which that won't be in Japan. That shouldn't be in Japan. People talk about the AJ and Fury one should be in Wembley. 100% agree, but you won't get Nakatani and Inoue in Japan, no matter how much money's on the table. And the only other one leaves MJ. So take your pick. He does seem to put, when you see interviews with Turkey, though, Dave, he does seem to keep pushing the Nick Ball fight a lot with Inoue. Yeah. So who knows?
That'd be a great fight. Be a great fight. That was announced. I'd like that. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. It will be in May. Will be for the WBA World Welterweight title. I presume that's the regular belt, but they haven't stated which that would be.
Of course it is. Staniotis has got the full belt. That's the way they word things. See how confusing it is for people.
I know.
Pulev's a world heavyweight champion. It's the same thing, isn't it? Same thing.
Yeah.
Ryan Garcia, man, he'll destroy Rolly Romero. I've got nothing against the guy, but I'm on record here saying I said it last night as well. I don't think he's very good at all. I think he was a very weak world champion. He's just got the gift of the gab. Gets PBC, get him into positions to win belts. Gets in world title eliminators, kind of thing. He's handsome and everything that goes along with it. But as a boxer, he's good. But to me, he ain't a world class boxer. And I think Ryan Garcia will destroy him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He's too fast for him. He's too skillful for him. Whatever's gone on with Ryan Garcia, all that madness around the Devin Haney fight, I'm looking forward to it for him to coming back as a fresh fighter, not juiced up, and actually giving boxing, his full attention and actually going on to try and win titles and stuff. It'd be interesting. Like I say, he's got some left hook on him, but for me, he smashes Rolly Romero to bits. No one, I don't rate him. You don't rate him. Not a lot of boxing fans who don't rate him. I think Ryan Garcia does a number on him, a proper number on him. I've seen a lot of back and forth on this. It's cancelled. It's on. It's off. But when I was doing my old news bits and pieces today, anyway, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. There is agreement in place for September in a mega fight on the Riyadh season card in Las Vegas. In September. Then I've seen something today saying it's off and all that. So I don't know where it is, but listen, there's a lot of traction in it now, which is looking like it's happening. But it's one of them.
Well, it's not, is it? I thought he was going to jump into what looks like it's being made now.
Yeah, well, since we can crack into that, because since I done this and about 5 minutes before I came on, you sent me something stating that Canelo Alvarez versus Jake Paul is definitely on. I honestly just can't see it. I honestly can't. I can't. It cannot be. But Joe,
that's Eddie Hearn's words, by the way. Sorry to interrupt, mate. That's Eddie Hearn's words, by the way. Yeah. And this is in the same week. He's actually come out and said talks for a Wilder versus Joshua fight have never been spoken about. It was only a couple of weeks he was saying him and Turkey were talking about it.
Yeah.
So believe what you want, but yeah, sorry to interrupt, mate. But I'm just saying Eddie Hearn said it. Doesn't mean it's gospel.
But like I say, before even Eddie Hearn come out of it, it had been going around all week.
Yeah.
But
it's come from somewhere.
It has come from somewhere. I can't see it. I honestly can't see it. But on the flip side of that, I would love Canelo Alvarez to do what Joshua did to Ngannou, and I love Ngannou. But do you know what? How many people, boxing fans, would look at that and think, you know what? If it happens, I'd love fucking Canelo Alvarez to absolutely wipe him out.
I can't believe you're even talking about it. I've got to be honest.
No, I know. I can't either. But and I can't see it happening. But I wasn't going to mention it today, so I'm blaming you for this because you sent it to me just before I come on.
I'm surprised you have to mention it. Has to be spoken about because we're talking about a unified / undisputed champion looking like he's going to take a fight against a guy that's not even ranked or paying sanction fees. A guy off the Disney Channel that's just fought a 60-year-old man that's had X amount of blood transfusion, wheelchair bound, and smoking zoots every day. What's going on?
Mushrooms. He's on the shrooms.
Yeah, exactly. Keep adding them on. I don't understand what the fuck's going on with boxing. I thought we were supposed to be going down a route of putting the best fights on for the fans. I thought we were starting to look at meritocracy. Mate, Canelo's the champion at 168, okay? Just say this fight does happen. Now, they're both human beings. They're both boxers. They've both got pro licenses. Totally get it. If they want to go away and make 200 million apiece, you crack on, lads. I haven't got a problem with that. You do what you fucking want. But I don't really care too much for Jake Paul. But with Canelo, it looks like a major fucking cash out because he's doesn't want anything to do with David Benavidez. David Benavidez was the interim champion for 2 years. His WBC shot was not called. He didn't offer him a voluntary, so he's gone up to 175. Same with David Morrell. He was holding the regular belt. So these kind of guys he doesn't want anything to do with. And he's been on record saying that why would he want to fight David Benavidez? He's too big. All these kind of excuses coming out. Now the fans want to see legacy fights. You're a multi-millionaire already. We don't want to see, well, as a boxing fan, I've got no interest in seeing a fight go after Disney Channel. No. So I can't understand why he's now going down this route in terms of legacy, in terms of pension pots, and sort of saving boxing. Well, you've said with the Anthony Joshua Ngannou thing, he'd get in there and just stop him in a round. That's probably factual. We could probably have a bet now and say, right, if take him out in a round, I've saved boxing. Bye-bye, Jake Paul. We don't know nothing else to do with you. But my concern is with the other fighters at 168 and the belts. Now, if he's going to do what he's going to do, Dave, he must be stripped of those belts because Jake Paul can't make 168. Yeah. If he can make 168, all those sanctioning bodies have got to say, well, hang on a minute. Jake Paul isn't ranked. You can't fight for one of our belts. Because do you remember when Ngannou fought Fury? It had to be for a non-title fight because he wasn't ranked or paying sanctioning fees. Now, the WBC do make things up as they go along. But come on, guys. Even though it's your cash cow Canelo, you've got to stick to the rules. He can't fight for those belts. However, he won't fight at 168 because he can't make it. He's a cruiserweight, Jake Paul. He's a very big lad. Even if he fights at 175, Dave, or he fights Jake Paul at 200 pounds, he still has to be stripped from those belts. Yeah. Because those guys at 168 are fighting eliminators. They're fighting random fights. They're having 3% taken out of their purse, you know, with bullshit belts to get to the golden ticket, the number one contender. Just because like Mr. Cinnamon there's jumping up and down in weights, fighting guys, making fucking cash loads of money, those guys shouldn't be sat there waiting for him. Yeah. They should be sat there waiting for him. It's like, okay, if you want to go up there, you either vacate the belts, which you won't do, or we're going to strip you. Or because it's Canelo, what we can do is make you champion in recess. So you go up there, these guys can crack on and win your belts. And when you're ready to come back down, you can activate your mandatory being champion in recess. You've got 1 year to do it. But that is my concern is for the other fighters, Dave. He's not adding to his legacy. He's adding to his pension pot. But he's his own man. He dictates. He does what he wants. But don't fucking screw it up for the other guys. This is one of the reasons why I go along with some of the other podcasts and the other socials. #bin the belts. They are a waste of fucking time. They don't mean jack shit. They don't mean anything. If you're going to do this, those guys that are willing to fight and pay sanctioning fees, get themselves into eliminators, get themselves into position, just to be told, but hang on a minute, this guy's got all the belts, he's got all the money, he's our cash cow, we can't afford to let him go. He's just going to move up here. You go and fight him for another final eliminator, and then we see how you get along. Nah, man, fuck that. Not interested. Got no interest. But on the plus side, if it does happen as a non-title fight, just go in there and fucking blast him out. Blast him out and around, and then come back and say, right, I want my belts back, or actually, I'm going to stay at 175 or 200 now. So, yeah, there's my little rant there, mate. I haven't got a problem with the two guys going for a dance, but not for belts. Just take those belts away from me. He doesn't deserve to defend or have those belts if he's fucking playing around with people's careers. And it is. It might sound a bit drastic to people, but it is. It's people's careers. They're working away to get that. And he's holding up the division. The guy's fight. There's 4 belts. He's got 4 belts, Dave. You start me off now. He's got 4 belts, and he's fighting twice a year. When you've got 4 belts, when you've got 4 belts, surely you should be active and fighting 4 times a year. Nue's doing it. He's got 4 belts.
Let me just go back to the news. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are in agreement to fight in September on a rehab season card.
Move on. It's 8 o'clock. Honestly, though, that's my little rant and rave about it. How do you feel about it? Are you happy with him sort of holding on to the belts and going up and down in divisions to make 200 million for himself? While the other guys got to hang about?
For me, it's the same sort of thing as the Klitschko's. This is when someone dominates and someone ends up being champion of all weights and dictating the future, like the Klitschko's did, it then creates an era of a poor division. Now there is good fighters in the superweight division, but because they're not getting their shots and Canelo's picking and choosing who he wants to fight, they're not becoming world champions and taking that next step, and that which makes the division dull. And then so you end up having a Canelo who is an all-time great, but what happens is people are like, fucking hell, like, he's not fighting this person because he picks and chooses what he wants. And then if he goes in there and fight in front of Jake Paul, it's not for me. I either defend all the belts against the up and coming guys that want to fight you, take on all challenges, or vacate and do whatever else you want to do. I don't think you should be allowed to hold them up. I know money talks and bullshit walks, but there should be a certain amount of time where you can be champion. Like, you can't have 10 years of holding all the belts and then picking and choosing anyone you want to fight, but not being the number one contenders or the people that have earned their stripes. And I think something needs done on that.
I'll give you an example before we move away, because obviously we've got our predictions and that to do. So when Lamont Roach fights Tank Davis next month, he's currently the champion in recess down at super featherweight. So he's fighting Tank at lightweight. The moment he stepped into that ring and that first bell goes, the WBA will strip him because he's holding a belt in another division, but he's fighting in another division. So you can't hold a belt in one division and fight another one. It makes complete sense. But when Canelo fought Bivol, moved up to 175 to fight Bivol, once holding the WBA belt, once that first bell rang, was he stripped? Was he fucked? No. Because he's Canelo and they all want 3% from a Canelo purse. It's fucking business. It's fucking wrong. And we need to move away from it.
All right,
we're not going to. Yeah, we have to move on, mate. You started me off, you have.
I didn't mention bloody.
You've only got to say the word Canelo. But you get my point, didn't you? Whether people agree with me or not, I don't really care. But that's how I feel about it.
So Anthony Kakachi has vacated his title. So the IBF have formally ordered Edward Sugar Nunes versus Mansouri Rishiki for the vacant super featherweight world title. The two sides have 2nd of March to reach an agreement. So he's looking. I've seen lots from Anthony Kakachi of late, and he's talking about legacy fight, money fights. I think it's muted that he'll be fighting Lee Wood. But he's not fighting Sugar Nunes. Now, whenever Sugar Nunes' name was mentioned for Anthony Kakachi before the Josh Warrington fight, I personally, and I'm sure you'd agree, thought that was a tough ask for your first defense, what it should have been. That was called. For me, Sugar Nunes is a quality fighter. He's the real deal. But Kakachi has decided not to take that fight and vacated. Sugar Nunes will fight for that world title, and I'm sure he'll win it.
Well, yeah, he's the featherweight boogeyman, isn't he, Sugar Nunes? I've got to be honest, mate. As a boxer fan, I'm disappointed Kakachi's not defending against Sugar Nunes. It's a better fight than Lee Wood. He's got more chance of beating Lee Wood, so it's still a test. Of course, it's still a test. Lee Wood's got one punch power at featherweight. There's no denying that. But as a technical boxing match and more jeopardy, Sugar Nunes is the guy. So I'm quite disappointed he's vacated that belt. However, we spoke about this before. It looks like even though he's going to be defending that IBO belt, it's still kind of the A side. The talks are like there's going to be in Nottingham. Lee Wood's still got a good profile where he brings fans. Kakachi brings fans. But to be honest, mate, it looks like he's doing it for money. He'll probably earn more money even being a B side than he would be an A side fighting Sugar Nunes, in Belfast or somewhere. So for me, literally, he's doing it for the pension pot. What's Anto now? 35, mid-30s, hasn't got a long left. He suffers so many injuries. So probably business-wise, it's probably a good decision to make. But as a boxing fan, I'd rather have seen Anthony Kakachi test himself as a champion against the number one contender in Sugar Nunes. But we're not going to see that now, unfortunately. But Lee Wood's good. The Lee Wood fight, is a good fight to make, but yeah, I'd rather see Nunes, but he's done it for X, Y reasons, and that's up to him.
I can sort of understand it. He's not young.
Yeah, I can understand it. Yeah,
he's not in his prime. Listen, he performed on a Turkey show as an underdog, really, and sort of changed his life. So he's probably looked at it and thought, listen, I've got a couple of fights here to change my family's life, and he's weighed it up and thought, the money be there for it. He's a former world champion now. So now he's now a name. There's fights out there for him. And he's probably looked at his boxing lifespan and thought, I've only got a couple left here. I've got to make as much money from him as possible. I don't know how much money Lee Wood makes him. I can't imagine it's life-changing money because it's
got to be more than a Sugar Nunes fight, Dave. It's got to be more because of the profile and the fan base, the ticket sales.
it's been quite a high profile fact that Eddie Hearn has come out and said that he pays Lee Wood too much money for what he makes on Lee Wood. You know, so I don't know how that works. But listen, yeah, it will be more money.
Yeah, he's not a matchroom fighter anymore, Lee Wood, is he? He's freelance and
I think it's based on that. He was saying the Lee Wood shows didn't cost him money, didn't make him money. So there was a little bit going on there. But yeah, anyway, we'll see what's next for Anto Kakachi. Rigas Prograis has suffered a shoulder injury and is out of the scheduled fight with Oscar Duarte on February 15th. There's another little bit of news. That's 2 pieces of news. Miguel Moreno has stepped in 10 days' notice to face Oscar Duarte after Regis Prograis has pulled out for a shoulder injury. So that fight is now not happening, mate.
Unfortunate, but injuries happen, don't they? Which we'll elaborate in our previews for this weekend because we've had 2 people pull out. But yeah, unlucky Regis. Hope you get better soon, brother. But hopefully Duarte's replacement opponent on that Golden Boy show, I think it's a Golden Boy show, isn't it? Will be just as good. So yeah.
A little bit of news here for you, mate. Janibek Alan Hanema.
Oh, don't start me off again. Fuck me.
Will defend his IBF and WBO middleweight world titles against. I mean, I can't believe this name's being put to me. Anuel Nagamusamakwin. In April 5th, which is Lola's birthday, in Kazakhstan.
Say it again.
Nagamusamakwin.
I'm laughing, but I can't fucking say it. We can't say it because you don't know who it is.
It's about 12. It's about 12 letters long.
Yeah. Oh, the French dude. Oh, mate.
I'm never saying that in a million years.
No. We're running out of time. We're honestly running out of time. I'm disappointed in the opponent. He's one of our favourite fighters on the podcast. He's a unified champion. Is this a fight? Is this a keep busy fight for the winner of Adames and Shiraz? Fingers crossed it is, because the only fight let's be honest, we really wanted to see was the Lara fight. He beats Lara, then he takes the winner of Adames and Shiraz. He gets unifies the division and fucks off up to 168. This opponent is ranked, so I haven't got as much as a problem with it. I had a bit of a rant about the Shaquille Thompson fight being made. I know he was ranked as well, but mate, it's such a weak division. I mean, apart from the couple of fighters we've just mentioned there, and I think Abel Hernandez is coming through that I mentioned yesterday on the PBC, the Cuban fighter. It's a rubbish division, and it needs a bit of a shake-up, and needs a bit of a change. And when you're putting on fights like this, I mean, he's not even the number 1 contender. I mean, who's the number 1 contender, for God's sake? Oh, yes, I know it's out in Kazakhstan. It's a homecoming for Janibek. There's probably not a lot of money in the purse for that fight. So the opponent's probably getting pittance compared to Janibek. Janibek ain't getting a great deal amount more, I would have guessed, even as champion. Out there, Top Rank aren't putting their money where their mouth is and not promoting him very well. We've been all through this before, but the only positives I could take out of it, Dave, is that he's active. He's active, whereas last year he's fighting once a year and it's not good enough. And what's he now? 29, 30. He's coming into his prime, and he's those prime years are kind of being wasted through lack of promotion and bad management, in my opinion. But yeah,
do you think he's a hard sell as well?
Well, he can't talk English for a start. Social media is all done by his team, but what he's got the skills to pay the bills. He's a major talent. I can't believe that's just a factor because he can't speak English and he's a hard sell. Put him on certain. Look at Makhmudov. I mean, yes, he can speak English, so that's probably a bad example, but he was a bit of a beast, a bit of a guy that was, unavoided. He went on one of the shows and blasted somebody out. Yes, Caballero went in there and destroyed him, but people got to know who he was. Maybe it's time for Turkey to step in and put him, on this massive platform with 2 belts. Sell the Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Sell the Shiraz fight. There's ways you can sell this guy, man. Just because he doesn't speak English doesn't mean it's the end of the day for him. He's the fucking champion, for God's sake. It's such a weak division.
I think Top Rank, Bob Arum's 98 or whatever he is. Like, I know he's got other people doing it, but I don't think they promote their fighters great. Anyway, Teofimo Lopez, he's been kicking up about it. A lot of people are leaving. I mean, you say what you want about Eddie and Frank Warren. If they've got him as a fighter, Eddie Earn will sing from the fucking top of any type of fucking hills about how great he is. And I think he makes. I think the promotion is a massive thing. But yeah,
look at Madrimov. Look at Madrimov. I thought Terence Bud Crawford. He can't speak English. He was a champion. People know about him now.
Yeah.
Why can't we do the same for Janibek? So you're right. Eddie Earn is a better sort of / promoter / manager, if you like, by getting people relevant fights that people get to know your name. You know, you're right about Top Rank. They're coming a little bit PBC like, aren't they? And they're not letting their fighters off, letting the shackles off their fighters. They're keeping a lot of things in house. Yeah, you're probably right, mate. Move on now.
Okay, mate. Hopefully the next bit of news ain't. There's quite a lot to this one was more. I've got two more pieces. This one was more of a comedy sort of piece of news that I had to say. It's all bollocks, but it made me laugh. Charles Martin has called for a fight against Moses Atuma, right? And he said, let's see if he can take it as good as he gives it. I'll knock Moses out with a proper camp right now. He's been stopping everyone quick, but it's real different when another puncher is coming back at you. Now, I thought that was April Fool's Day when I first heard that. I thought I have to get that into David McDonald's news because that's fucking superb. That is Charles Martin. Do you know what you're talking about? An opponent for Atoma, just for the fucking crack. Stick him in with him if he fucking puts his money where his mouth is. But Charles Martin throwing punches back. Fuck, please.
2.0. To be fair to him, mate, he's the only one that's fucking called him out.
I know.
Fair fucks to him. He's a silly boy, but fair fucks to him. The winner gets Stavern, don't they?
Yeah. Luis Ortiz Jr. a fucking pull up out of somewhere and all.
Jeez. Yeah, it's a bit of a comedy moment, but again, if he means it, he could probably see pound signs as well, can't he? Oh, Charles Martin. It's going to end badly for him, but again, you know, tongue in cheek, fair play to him because nobody else is saying, "Well, I'll fight Moses, I'll fight him," because no one wants that smoke. So, good old Charles Martin, eh? The former world champion, by the way. Former world champion, don't forget that.
Yeah, exactly. Prince Charles Martin.
Prince Charles.
Right, and the last bit of news for tonight's announcement. Sabrian Matias will face Gabriel Venezuela in an IBF super lightweight final eliminator on March 1st in Puerto Rico. The Boogeyman, we've talked about Boogeymen. That's the Boogeyman, and he's back in a title eliminator in March.
Yeah. Good luck to him. When you said Venezuela, I had to think twice then.
I know. I thought it was the one that's Pitbull Cruz's Venezuela.
Yeah, it's the Mexican one.
I thought that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
obviously we'll review and preview that when it happens. Let's hope we get 2.0 version of Subriel Matias. Obviously, he got beat by Liam Parrow and he got beat convincingly. I think he's had one fight since. So he's on the rebuild as well. So good luck to him.
Absolutely. And that is it for David McDonald and the Dong.
All right. I've got left just over 15 minutes left before I've got to fuck off to work. So let's crack on with this prediction league. Let's see the results from last weekend, guys. So it was 2-1 to you in the prediction league, week 3. This is week 4. Oh, this is week 5 now. So week 4, here are the results, ladies and gentlemen. So we had Benavidez versus David Morrell. I went for Benavidez by KO, so there was a point for me. Dave went for Benavidez by points, so there was 3 points for Dave. Fulton Figueroa, both went for Figueroa, so nothing there. Cruz versus Fierro, we both went for Cruz. I went on points, there's 3 points for me. Dave went for the knockout, there was 1 point for Dave. Adam Azim, Serhii Lipinets, we both went for Adam Azim with a KO. I went 5, Dave went 7, Adam done it in 9, so there's 3 points apiece there. Junaid Bostan against Fawaz, we both went for Junaid by KO, so there was nothing there for us. And Clarissa Shields versus Danielle Perkins, we both went for Clarissa Shields by knockout. She got it done on points, so there's a point apiece there as well. So the scores on the doors from the last weekend were Dave G 8, Dave Holland 8, which makes it a draw. So this was your idea to do this point wise. So how do we do it now? Do we still make it 2-1 to you, or do we do 3-2 to you? Do we count the 1-1?
Do it. Just do it 2-1. Because if we draw, we just keep it as it was.
So it's null and void. It's still Dave Holland 2, Dave G1 going into this week's action. Yeah.
And if we draw, we can pick who does the weekly wager. And seeing as I've done 2.
We'll pick it together. We'll pick it together this week. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
So we've only got 3 fights to cover this weekend. We was going to jump in to tonight's fight with Bakhtadir Jalolov taking on his opponent, Spillman. We don't talk anything about his opponent. He's complete rubbish. It would just would have been me and Dave picking the round. He's obviously, I wouldn't say obviously anybody that doesn't know, Jalolov was fighting on an undercard over in Canada. I couldn't even tell you the main event was. But he pulled out yesterday, I think, or this morning, not feeling very well. Now, I do kind of like that. He hasn't chose, even though his opponent doesn't offer him any jeopardy, really. Jalolov is just like Moses Atuma. He's a bit further forward in his career in terms of his resume, fights he's had, but he's a nailed-on world champion for me. But he hasn't chose wealth over health. He's chose health over wealth. He's obviously clearly not well enough to fight, which is a shame because now he's a two-time Olympic gold medalist. It's with Top Rank, unfortunately. He's had, I think it's 15-0, 15 knockouts. It's time to let the shackles off, but he was supposed to fight, probably would have lasted a round. Does that give him activity? Does that get a few coppers off? No, not really. But when he does fight, we'll elaborate on who he should be fighting now. He's, halfway through. I wouldn't say halfway through his career because he's 30. He's coming into his prime, but he needs a test now, even if it is his first fight since the Olympics. He's done 15 before. He's got 15 knockouts. I'm waffling and I'm going to move on. Derek Chisoras versus Otto Wallin, Dave. I've got written down there on the banner, ladies and gentlemen. The last dance for Derek Chisoras. Well, it's definitely the last dance in the UK. It'll be his 49th fight as a pro. Bit of a left field fight, this one. I don't really saw this one coming. It's just a goodbye to the UK fans. It's up at Manchester at the Carp Arena. Be interesting to see how many fans go to this one, Dave. I know he's a good ticket seller, Derek. How many will go to the Co-op to say goodbye to him? If that is going to be his last dance, we know he's got one more left. The rumours are he's going to do Francis Ngannou in Africa, or Deontay Wilder has been mentioned as well. Derek Chisoras, mate, over the years, he's entertained us. He's been in great fights. He's been in stinkers. He's had his moments. He's been controversial, throwing tables, spitting, says things that he really shouldn't say. I never really used to like him back in the day. I've kind of warmed to him as his career's got near to the end. He kind of scares me as well because he's so unpredictable. I wouldn't be like to left in a room with him. He's a bit of an oddball, but he's a lovable oddball. And he's originally from Zimbabwe, but we've kind of adopted him as one of our own. We call him the UK or Britain's Del Boy / Ward Chisoras. And he's going to be missed, mate. Whatever happens on Saturday night against Otto Wallin, he's been good for boxing. He's been good for British boxing. He's a character which we need, and he is going to be missed. And I think all of us will miss him when he finally does hang those gloves up.
Yeah, no, he's been a credit to Britain and the sport, really. And that's a very hard thing to say when you look at his earlier career and what he done and the controversial things that he done. I mean, the spitting was disgusting with the Klitschko's and slapping one of them and throwing tables and that. So and fighting with David Hay, where he got we said he got bottled and all this other sort of stuff. So he's had a lot, but that aside, which is a hard thing to say, he has been good for British boxing. And he sort of turned it around for himself. He really did, because he wasn't everyone's cup of tea early on. But his last 10 fights or whatnot, he's really got the British public behind him. He's flown the flag for Britain as well. He always wore the balaclava and all that. Yeah, that balaclava and stuff like that. So listen, he deserves his moment. I think he get a good turnout on Saturday night. Going on to the fight, Otto Wallin, he frustrates me. He frustrated me in the Anthony Joshua fight because I thought he was going to give Anthony Joshua more of a fight. He's known as a southpaw, up on his toes.
He's a good southpaw.
A good boxer, but he didn't show that against Anthony Joshua. He sort of stood in the pocket and took too many shots and got stopped, which I didn't think he would do. Which is why I think he's now an opponent for Derek Chisoras. Derek Chisoras is going to come straight forward, go at him, and try and take his head off. Now, the Otto Wallin, I know we always go back to the Tyson Fury Otto Wallin. He was an unknown then, and he gave Tyson Fury hell, cut him quite bad. But Tyson Fury sort of comeback sort of trail, and then he went in with who did he go in with? Bradis? Or no, it was the
Gassiev in Turkey.
Yeah, and he fought very, very well prior to Joshua fight. So he's got it in him to box very well and not get caught up in what Derek Chisoras is going to bring, because Derek Chisoras is not going to box him. Derek Chisoras is going to get him and swing haymakers, fight over the top, these big clubbing sort of shots.
Doesn't fight any other way, does he?
No. So for me, like I would lean to Otto Wallin in this fight based on boxing fundamentals and boxing skills. But if it depends on what Otto Wallin comes into it. Now, if Otto Wallin comes into it the way he did with AJ, and is going to stand in the pockets and try and trade in that, he will get beat.
Yeah, get beat. He will. Yeah.
But if he comes in and boxes how he can do, and doesn't let Derek Chisoras set his feet and then give him plenty of lateral movement, and he could box his head off. So this is a hard one to call for me, because it all depends on me. To me, what Otto Wallin turns up.
And by the way, can I just interrupt? By the way, you're spot on what you're saying, and this is a kind of caveat to it. The IBF have got involved, and they've put a bullshit eliminator on top of this. If I was Derek Chisora, Dave, they've come and said, "Well, this is an IBF eliminator for a world title shot." Derek Chisora is not getting anywhere near a world title shot. Let's stop being silly. The belts are held up at the moment, and you've obviously got the likes of Martin Bakoli, Zhilei Zhang, and Ajit Caballero waiting for their turn. And Anthony Joshua kind of jumps the queue because he's AJ. Chisora's getting nowhere near a world title shot. So if I was Chisora, I would say to the IBF, "Fuck you! I'm not paying any 3%." But Otto Wallin might think, "Oh, okay. If I do win this, there's a possibility I can sort of leapfrog my way into that position." So they put a world title eliminator on this, more for Otto Wallin, in my opinion, than Derek Chisora. But you saying about what Wallin's going to turn up, if he knows there's a kind of a pathway to getting a version of a world title shot, Dave, we might see the boxing version of Otto Wallin now, rather than the guy that's just turning up to get paid against Derek Chisora on his last dance, you know?
Yeah. Well, I put a tweet out on that when it was announced yesterday, saying, is it written in the stars that Chisora gets a title shot on his last fight, his 50th fight? But you're right in what you say. But then saying that the boxing is the wild, wild west. It probably Bakoli and all them and Caballero and all of them guys that have been hanging around and fighting eliminators and all that get trumped by Chisora because it's the wild, wild west. But it's a long shot. But going on to the fight and predicting the fight again, for me, it all depends on what Otto Wallin we're going to get. But I have to make a prediction, and I think the occasion might make a big difference. So I'm going to go for Chisora. I'm going to go for Chisora in round 10 stoppage.
He's going for the stoppage.
Yeah,
he'll be there. He will be swinging to the end. We do know that. That's a fact. That's guaranteed. You will get Del Boy fucking swinging until that for the full 36 minutes. Whether he lands or not is another thing. But obviously, Dave's given his prediction, and he thinks he lands in the 10th round, and I can see that happening as well. Of course, I can. He'd be well up for this. It'd be emotional at the start, and once that bell rings, mate, that's it. It'd be Derek Chisora that we've seen from his debut until his last dance. But I think this is going to be a bore for the casual fan. I do think what I just said there about a bullshit IB eliminator on top there. Don't ever know what path Otto Wallin could go on to next. I think it's going to be a bit of a bore, as I said, for the casual fans, because they expect Derek Chisora to go in there and knock him out and, walk away into the sunset, walk away into Africa and have a massive payday on a turkey card. That's what I believe. But I think Otto Wallin's going to spoil the show, mate. I think he's going to outbox Derek Chisora. I think he's going to make it boring. 1-2 move, 1-2 move, hold, 1-2 move, 1-2 move, hold for 36 minutes. And I think Otto Wallin's going to beat Derek Chisora on points. It's going to spoil the show. The last dance in the UK.
I can see, like I say, it depends on what Otto Wallin turns up. Like I say, the Otto Wallin of a few fights ago, yep, I predict exactly the same what you're saying there. But AJ, he wasn't anything like we predicted. And if he comes in like that,
isn't he?
Yeah, if he comes in like that, he will.
Yeah, definitely. So that's on TNT Sports. I don't think it's the last of Frank's fights on TNT. I think the last one is the Nick Ball fight. I'm sure it is. But also on this card is Nathan Heaney. Well, we was going to preview him. We kind of run out of time, but he's fighting some French bum. He's kind of sort of trying to rebuild, isn't he? He's had those two losses. Well, he had the draw and the loss to Brad Pauls. He's kind of taken a step backward in his career. But I was listening to another podcast earlier on in the week, and I just want to quickly throw this bit in, and it made kind of really great sense, because obviously we've been talking about Callum Simpson from the weekend, massive ticket seller. He's at the weight above, but Nathan Heaney is obviously he's a big 160 fighter. Callum Simpson's been talking about doing fights at the Oakwell at Barnsley. He wants to fight Liam Cameron, obviously Sheffield versus Barnsley, massive Yorkshire derby, both ticket sellers. Later on in the year, Nathan Heaney's an even bigger ticket seller. If Callum Simpson if he wants to say kind of domestic European, Nathan Heaney versus Callum Simpson at Oakwell or Stoke City Stadium, that does fucking numbers. That does. That's a great fight to make, even if it's not entertaining in the ring. For the crowd, that's massive. Summer showdown either at Stoke or Barnsley. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in because Nathan Heaney is fighting at the weekend, guys. But we're not going to concentrate on that one. We're going to jump over to the States. Shavkat Rakhimovs versus Justin Pordo. Now, boxing fans will know exactly who Rakhimovs is. The last time we saw Rakhimovs, former super featherweight champion, He's been on a couple of wars on these shores against Joe Cordina and Zelfa Barrett. Probably the Joe Cordina fight would be more memorable. What I think it was one of, if not the fight of the year a couple of years ago. The weird thing about Shavkat, if you look on his box rec, Dave, he says he hasn't fought for a year, but he fought Sugar Nunes back in February and got beat up and stopped. Again, we spoke about Sugar Nunes being a bit of a boogeyman, but it was under IB. This is, again, I'm not going to go into another rant, but it was under the IBA ruling, under the IBA sanctioning. That's fine. That's okay. But when Sugar Nunes won that fight against Rakimov, he won an IBF eliminator. How the fuck does that work? Completely different sanction, but yeah, exactly. It doesn't make it's Wild West, ladies and gentlemen. The boxing is the Wild West. Makes no sense whatsoever. However, he's back out this weekend, guys. I think he's up at lightweight now, Dave. I think he's campaigning at lightweight. He's based out in America. I think he's got a new team behind him. Obviously, he could be in a new weight division. He takes on America's Justin Poldo. Don't really know a lot about him. He calls himself the $1 Million Man. He's coming off, I think he's coming off a loss as well, just like Rakimov. They've got very similar records. Rakimov 17-1. Well, if you count the loss to Nunes, that's 17-2. Poldo 17-2. So same records basically. But if you have a look at the resume of Rakimov and you have a look at the resume of Poldo, it's kind of chalk and cheese. You've got a skilled southpaw who can bang in Rakimov. He does belong at the top table. Now is the time for him to rebuild and get himself back in amongst with the big boys. Don't really know a lot about Poldo, mate, but going on his resume, which I don't like to do because we've had egg on our face before, not just me and you, but boxing fans. Rakimov should be too skilled, too fast, too clever. I can see Rakimov stopping him. If we're getting Rakimov of old, not even pre-Cordina, when he fought Cordina, because it was a super, super close fight. So yeah, I like I'm glad to see Rakimov back out. And he's on one of these pro box cards as well, Dave. So he's not with a major, he's not with a major promotional company now. Maybe he's going away, having 3 or 4 fights this year and get himself ranked again, get himself back into the mix where he definitely belongs. So yeah, Shavkat Rakimov back at the weekend, mate. How you seeing this one?
I feel like it's a toe dipper into a new weight. With the type of opponent, but it's a credible opponent when you look at a record. You know, like it's not like it's justifiable, if you know what I mean. Where they look at it and they think, okay, it's one of them ones where you get someone in who's not really well known, but his record's enough that people will, it blindsides people into thinking it could be a competitive fight. But I think it's to dip his toe in this weight to see how he gets on. Yes, he's been a world champion, but yeah, it's almost like the minute he gets up with someone world class, he just falls short for me. I know he went in, had a really good fight with Cordina, a couple of years ago, but I think this is a test to see how he sort of fares. He's come off, that the loss you said there didn't go on his record by all accounts, but so it's one of them for me. And I think the record is a blind side, really, to exactly what's going to happen. I think he's going to go in there. He's going to look good, and I think he's going to show his quality. As he campaigns at a new weight. So for me, I think he's going to go in there, look sharp, and do a number on Justin Poldo. And I think he's going to win. And I think he's going to win in round 5.
Yeah, I'm going to go round 7 body shot.
Nice.
So yeah, good luck to Shavkat on Saturday night. That's on YouTube, by the way. So that's free for everybody all over the world that can obviously get access to YouTube. Oh, just quickly, I forgot to say, me and Dave was going to preview the Willie Hutchison against Zach Parker fight, but that was called off earlier in the week because of Uncle Willie. Scotland's finest has got an injury as well. So there's been quite a few that's been called off this week through sickness and illness and things like that. And we're going to our last fight of the weekend, guys. Shakkan Pitters against Lee Ingleres. Now, Shakkan Pitters was supposed to be fighting Daniel Dos Santos for the vacant EBU light heavyweight championship. And Daniel Dos Santos, unfortunately, has his medical this week, and he found to have a brain injury, or there was something wrong with his brain, which he couldn't be licensed or sanctioned to fight. So well done to the medical team for realising that and for spotting that. Obviously going into a ring with Shakkan Pitters is risking his life, and it's been stopped. So he can't get into the ring. So he's had this late replacement now. Lee Ingleres, a Belgian guy I know nothing about. Don't think he's really fought out of Belgium, Dave. But more speaking about Shakkan Pitters, the Brummie, this fight's up at the Park Community Arena in Sheffield. This is on Friday night, guys, on the Zone. It's an Izzy Asif fight card. GBM doing really, really well. Some of their shows they're putting on. I think they've got Adam Smith on comms. So keep an eye on this promotional company, because there's rumours going around that Boxer and Sky aren't getting on. So GBM could, they could find a sort of pathway into Sky Sports, or even TNT that don't have boxing after Frank Warren pisses off. But let's get back to the event. Shakkan Pitters. We haven't really, I don't think we've ever spoken about Shakkan on here, Dave. The last time I've seen Shakkan Pitters fight, I know he went in with Craig Richards a couple of years ago and got beat. And he went in with Dan Aziz and got beat. So he's an ex-English and British champion. He's a good boxer. He's not really a brawler or a puncher. He does like to box. He counter punches. He moves. He's a decent British level fighter. He's got the opportunity on Friday night to fight for a vacant EBU, the proper EBU European title. He's up against this Belgian kid, but it was also a nice backstory. Well, I wouldn't say it's a sad backstory with Shakkan as well. In December, unfortunately, he lost his father. So there's a lot of emotion running around him and his family. I think he said the funeral's coming up in March. So there's a lot going on in his head. He's got this he's got this European title to fight for in honor of his dad and everything else that goes along with that. So I do feel for him. He's the main event. He's the main guy. He's being showcased on the telly. He's on DAZN. He's on YouTube, and I'm rooting for him. I've never been a kind of a Shakkan Pitters fan. He's just a British guy that fights, and you watch him, you think, oh yeah, he's good, but he's at a certain level. I wish him all the best. I'm going to go straight in now. I think Shakkan Pitters, he's not really a puncher. I know nothing about this guy, this Belgian guy. I know he hasn't been beaten before, but again, we talk of resumes, Dave. There's nothing there to suggest that he's going to give Shakkan Pitters any kind of jeopardy. Watch Shakkan Pitters lose now on Friday night, but hopefully he doesn't. I think Shakkan Pitters is going to get the job done. I think he's going to dance around this kid for majority of the fight, win the EBU belt on points, and I'd like to see him get back in with Dan Aziz. I'd like to see him get back in Dan Aziz. Dan Aziz got the opportunity to become a two-time European champion, and obviously Shakkan Pitters could get the opportunity to get one over Dan Aziz. But yeah, looking forward to this fight, Dave. Shakkan Pitters, 2 beat Lee Inglrest on points on Friday night in Sheffield. Good luck, Shakkan.
Yeah, I mean, I echo your sentiments about his father, and like I say, obviously my wife's going through the same thing at the moment, so I feel his pain. Looking at both their records earlier on today, neither of them are suggested to be a banger. I think that's probably why Shakkan Pitters is probably it's got his ceiling in where he can go. I don't think he holds the power to earn the respect. I
think that's what he lacks, Dave, doesn't he? He lacks a bit of pop, doesn't he?
He lacks a little bit of pop. The boxing skills are there in abundance, but I don't. When someone puts sticks on him, I feel that the struggle he'll have is to keep him off if they don't respect his power, and I think that was where he will struggle when he goes up in level. Now there's an opportunity here for a European title, and he has to take it with both hands. And and I feel like the opponent here, I know it's a late replacement, is probably worked out in his favour for him to become a European champion, which no one could ever take anything away from him. It's an amazing belt to have. And I think he grabs it with both hands. I hope he doesn't fight on emotion. It's a very hard thing not to. But he's got a lot of skills, and I think that this opponent's tailor-made for that. He doesn't seem to be a banger. Yes, he's undefeated, but again, we speak about records that can overshadow to make you think they're better than they are. You don't know how many fights he's had abroad, but I can't imagine that the quality of opponent is on Shakkan Pitters' level. So I'm with you. I don't see a stoppage here based on the guy's records for knockouts, but I do see that Shakkan Pitters can actually take this guy to school and win by shutout. You might give this guy a couple of rounds around, just out of sheer determination. But I see him coasting to a really good points win here, mate, for me.
Yeah, totally agree, mate. Totally agree. So good luck, Shakkan, and good luck to everybody that's fighting on the weekend. Just quickly then, before I go off to work and Dave goes and does what he normally does on a weekday, it's Winner's Weekly Wager. So last week I made another mistake on this, Dave. I don't know if I elaborated last week when I done my solo kind of podcast, but I left out a fight with the Winner's Weekly Wager, which makes me look like I'm robbing from charity yet again. So let me just clarify and clear it up, okay? I've written it down in stages here to show everybody that I'm not robbing from charity, and what's in the pots at the moment is what's in the pot. So here we go. So in week 1, we had Caroline Dubois. That was Dave's prediction. It was a technical draw. So there was no points there. So that's a fact. I missed out last week, Dave. Ali Akhmedov. Ali Akhmedov, you made a prediction for the KO in round 4. He won by KO, but not in round 4, but it was 3 points there. That was the guy that I missed out for some strange reason. And obviously, Anaya Nue the week before for the KO. We got the wrong round, but it was another 3 points there. And last week's result, you got it right again. Clarissa Shields, you got the fighter right in Shields, but it wasn't a knockout, so we only got the 1 point there. So at the moment, that is 7 points. And obviously, Dave doubles the points, which turns it into 14. And we turn those points into pounds. In the pot now is £14. And I've got that spot on. So if I get it wrong next week, Dave, so hang on a minute, Dave, you've got it wrong there. There's £14 in the pot. And that's for a boxing charity of your choice at the end of the year. So we've just done our prediction league from last weekend. It was 8 points apiece. We have got a draw. So for the first week, it's the first week ever. We're going to pick our winner's weekly wager. And there'll be other times between now and the rest of the year that we'll probably get a draw again. So we're going to pick between us, which is our banker of the week, Dave. So what are you thinking going into this weekend? Who would you say is nailed on to get that victory, whether it be by points or by a knockout, mate?
I would steer clear of Chisora, Otto Wallin, because that for me could go either way. So it leaves 2 fights. I'm confident in Pitters winning on points.
Yeah, and me.
Oh, but I did. What was the middle fight? What was the second fight there again?
Shavkat Rakhimovs.
Rakhmonov. Yeah, Rakhmonov.
We both went for KO, didn't we, in that fight? Yeah. We both gone for Shakkan Pitters on points. We don't know a lot about Poldo. Hang on, sorry, mate. We don't know a lot about Poldo. We don't know a lot about Ingles. I'm more confident in Shakkan getting a points win than I am against Rakhimov getting a knockout win. But I am confident in Rakhimov winning. This is the thing. Yeah.
All right, listen, I'm easy, so I'll go with Shakkan Pitters. I believe that he coasts that. I believe that he absolutely coasts that to a complete shutout. So that's the weekly weight. For me, that's the banker. So if you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. We're both happy this week. We're going to go Shakkan Pitters to beat his opponent, Lee Ingles, by points. And that is our winner's weekly wager banker. Get it all out, Dave. So that's sorted out for this week. We're going to both fuck off now. So anything else, brother, to add to our episode before we say our goodbyes and literally fuck off?
No, that's it, mate. You got to go to work, so enjoy.
Any plans for the weekend, mate?
No, I don't really know what we're doing yet. Everything's up in the air in my house.
Yes,
so.
yeah.
So I don't have any. I know the following weekend, which I talk about, is Arsenal Tottenham Women's. We got that on the Valentine's Day weekend.
Oh yeah. Oh, Valentine's Day, yes. There should be hopefully some stories between you and your missus wooing her all over again, like you did all those years ago before the kids arrived. That kind of thing. With me and the masses will be looking forward to that.
It's Valentine's Day every day for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I might have to make it up to our missus that week, because this weekend I've got my brother coming up from Devon, which would be nice to see him for a change. He's coming up to watch the kids play football. Then we're off to Stourbridge Football Club. The girls are at home. Fingers crossed they can get a win, because they are in a relegation battle. They're at home to Stoke City and have just lost another player. So good luck, girls. And then it's time for a few beers and a curry, mate. So you know what I'm like on the weekend. Once I've had a lack of sleep, a lot of beers, and a bit of curry in my belly, I'll be a bit worse for wear. So I might be a bit of making up to do the following weekend. But yeah, apart from that, it's time to go. So that's the end of episode 89, ladies and gentlemen. You know the T's and C's where to find us: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and if you've got your visuals, do your usual. Just subscribe, just like, just share. You know exactly what to do here on YouTube. And we will be back on Monday for another episode of Rope-a-Dope Boxing Podcast. So until then, have a great weekend, stay safe, and enjoy the bloody boxing. Davey boy, have a good one, mate. And I will see you next week, brother.
Take care, mate. Have a good one.